Is China about to dominate AI? Amid the chaos of the AI revolution, an Eastern power has emerged, threatening to wreak havoc on the very foundations of Western civilization. Ever since the US government accused China of using a wide range of technology to spy on American journalists and public figures, tension between the two countries has reached a volatile point, stoking fears of an armed conflict between the two superpowers. Now, with China's recent developments in the AI industry, a future in which the US is no longer at the forefront of this revolution is a very real and very dangerous possibility. Watch until the end to uncover the shocking truth about China's AI agenda and its potentially catastrophic consequences on Western society. A recent study performed by the US Department of Commerce raised alarming concerns regarding China's groundbreaking progress in the realm of artificial intelligence. The results of the study showed that the 5 companies that manufacture the most accurate facial recognition software in the world are all Chinese. A big part of the reason why Chinese companies have made such massive progress toward creating perfectly accurate facial recognition technology is that the government has been heavily involved in the operations of the largest private technology companies, such as Megvii, SenseTime, and Dahua Technology. These companies have received funds and resources from the government to continue their research and to use AI deep learning techniques to improve their software's facial analysis capabilities. Because most Chinese citizens are comfortable with the idea of the government and private companies using their data to improve facial recognition algorithms, Chinese firms have access to massive pools of sensitive information which they use to train their algorithms at a level no other country is capable of due to privacy regulations. The end result of this is that Chinese companies have now developed facial recognition software that can take even the lowest resolution images and videos and use them to obtain an incredible amount of information on a particular person, from an estimate of their age to their current emotional state. Taigusis, a Chinese company that specializes in emotion recognition technology, has created a security system that has already been installed in more than 500 prisons all over the country. Their security cameras, which have also been deployed in schools and nursing homes across the nation, are designed to detect abrupt changes in an individual's emotional state, which the company and the government claims can be used as a tool to predict and prevent violent crimes. Although China's advances in the field of facial recognition can be seen as a positive development in the AI industry, let's take a second to consider China's rather insidious agenda in regards to facial recognition. Let's start with the fact that China's autocratic regime has a history of media censorship and privacy violations. For the government, the agenda of the Chinese Communist Party ranks higher in importance than human rights. According to Harvard economics professor David Yang, dictators like Xi Jinping would like to be able to predict the whereabouts, thoughts, and behaviors of citizens, and AI is fundamentally a technology for prediction. Alarmingly, the Chinese government has already declared the country's intentions to become the global AI leader by 2030. But why is developing accurate facial recognition technology so important to the Chinese government? To understand the answer to this question, we must first talk about China's plans to introduce its social credit system in the entire country. For context, the social credit system is the Chinese government's methodology for punishing citizens that act in a way that the Communist Party deems untrustworthy. In the introduction of this social experiment, every person will be granted a base score of 1,000 points, with the option to either increase or decrease one's score depending on the way each person acts in his or her daily life. For example, by walking a dog without a leash, buying too many video games, violating the two-child policy, speeding, speaking negatively about the government on social media, or even getting a parking ticket, an individual risks losing points on their SCS. Raising the SCS is much more difficult and time-consuming than bringing it down, but some ways in which citizens can increase their SCS include reporting other citizens who are spreading negative information about the CCP, either on social media, by word of mouth, or through any other mode of communication, assisting the police in prevention of a crime, or paying credit card bills on time. The consequences of a low SCS score can be devastating. It's been reported that many kids have been unable to apply to their preferred schools because their parents had a low social credit score. A low SCS can also affect travel plans and employment prospects. Oh, and there's one more important detail that can't be left out. There are over 200 million surveillance cameras in all of China, which means there is one security camera for every 7 Chinese citizens. Are you starting to see how accurate facial recognition technology can speed up the introduction of this perverse system? If security cameras could be trusted to provide 100% accurate information on the behavior of Chinese citizens, then the government would be unstoppable in its efforts to exercise the tightest, most abusive control possible on its people. Through the use of facial recognition technology, the government is able to monitor a person's purchasing and consumption habits, daily emotional state, and practically any activity that a person is involved in outside of their home. The government can know what time you left for work, what you had for lunch, how you felt at a certain time during the day, how fast you drove at every moment of your commute back home, who you talked to and interacted with throughout your day, how much money you spent, how productive you were during your workday, and any other behavior that can be monitored with security cameras. Now, although facial recognition is a big part of the AI industry, there's a lot more to the picture. China has actually made significant progress toward their goal of becoming a world leader in AI in more fields than one. From 2017 to 2023, Chinese companies have published more research papers and patented more AI-related products and technologies than any other country in the world, with almost 38,000 research papers on the matter published annually. Most of these papers are related to speech and image recognition technologies, which should come as no surprise given the government's plan to integrate AI into their social credit system. Chinese companies have also gained a lot of ground in the development of large language models. These models, such as ChatGPT, Bard, and Bing's chatbot, are AI systems that have been trained on massive amounts of text-based data to generate text and speech identical to human language. Over the past 3 years, Chinese firms have created 79 large language models, the incredible result of a nationwide effort to become a leading force in the AI industry. This also has to do with the fact that regulations are quite strict in China when it comes to foreign AI technologies. Even though ChatGPT has not yet been banned by the government, it is well on its way to being inaccessible by the general Chinese population, which has motivated Chinese firms to develop their own versions of the technology. The open science nature of ChatGPT has allowed Chinese firms to use similar training strategies to create their own large language models in a very short period, but there's certain regulatory constraints that have prevented Chinese companies from acting freely. For example, Chinese tech giant Baidu launched a chatbot named Ernie, and during its development, the company was forced to adapt to a strict regulatory framework. When prompted about Xi Jinping or any other topic related to the government, the chatbot quickly claims that it has not been trained to answer those questions and shuts down any further attempts at conversation on politically charged topics. Despite their recent explosive advances in AI, it's clear that in this regard, Chinese firms will have trouble sustaining their initial momentum for one reason. With the stringency of the government's regulations on how chatbots should be trained and developed, Chinese firms such as Baidu, Tencent, and NetEase will face major challenges and setbacks that will make sustained explosive progress more difficult to attain. Let's also not forget the major tech crackdown that the Chinese government has enforced in the past few years, shaving off billions and billions of dollars in value from major Chinese tech companies, making insufficient funding a major problem for Chinese firms. Once again, the government's agenda could also be its own major obstacle toward remaining relevant in the global AI industry. This is a major reason why autocratic nations tend to get left behind by more democratic nations in the race to develop general-purpose technologies. That being said, China does have one major advantage over the rest of the world when it comes to large language models. Let's not forget that the accuracy and reliability of a large language model like ChatGPT rests completely on the quality and quantity of the recent data it is trained on. This may sound ugly, but chatbots trained on the recent private information of its users will be much more effective in providing potentially useful information both for individuals and large organizations, and since the Chinese government is not especially worried about the ethics of invading the privacy of its citizens and making use of their sensitive information, this could be a major advantage for China when it comes to the development of large language models. China has also made astounding progress in other domains of AI. Recently, a state-owned news channel in China developed an AI-powered news anchor that delivers government-selected news to the public 24/7, 365 days a year. It has also succeeded in creating clones of its human news anchors for special broadcasts, which is absolutely amazing. Despite all of these advances, one major question remains unanswered, and that is, how has China, with all its regulatory and political issues that under normal circumstances would seriously hinder the progress of AI, become such a key player in the AI industry so quickly? One theory that has gained traction recently is that the Chinese government has found ways to steal the intellectual property, or IP, of competing countries. FBI Director Christopher Wray even went as far as to warn the American public that the Chinese government's IP theft agenda is the single biggest threat to U.S. national security. While we will not go into the nitty-gritty details, it's enough to say that China has a history of major IP-related attacks on the US, such as when a Chinese-American employee of General Electric Power stole the company's design and manufacturing blueprints for steam and gas turbines and sent them to an accomplice in China. There have also been instances of Chinese spies stealing information and trade secrets from US aviation companies, and this type of theft is almost impossible to foresee and put a stop to. So far, there have been no confirmed incidents of Chinese AI-related theft, and only time will tell whether or not this will be a deciding factor in the race for AI dominance. For now, the only thing that we know for certain is that China has become an AI superpower capable of global technological domination. If it only took them 6 years to develop the cutting-edge technology that has placed them at the forefront of the AI revolution, their goal to become the undisputed world leader in AI by 2030 now seems like a very likely outcome. While it's impossible to predict the future, it's a guarantee that China's involvement in the realm of artificial intelligence will change the world in ways we can't even begin to imagine.